Sick games. You guys somehow missed Neep versus Serral. I highly recommend that you guys take a look at least game 1 and 2. Game 3, I don't recommend it to my friends or my family or even you, Waddy. But game 1 and 2, absolutely sick StarCraft. I'm so excited. We are getting ready to hop into Serral versus Maru. Get those tweets out there, guys. I've got no access to the Twitterverse, but I'm sure you guys do. This is one of these series that I live for, Waddy. I want to see if Serral can finally have the biggest performance of his career and take out a top tier Korean when it matters the most.
Well, it's time to get this started here on Eastwatch to the top right-hand side of the map. We are kicking it off with the man who finished in second place last year. He, in the red, is Maru.
Made it to the grand finals of WESG 2016 without dropping a mech. Back then he only had to play 16 games to make it to the grand finals, and he won all 16 of them. A man who's trying to repeat that feat is this man, who is 18-0 in this tournament. Looks unstoppable, but can he do it when it matters the most? It's Serral.
Can he keep on delivering? I mean, the fact he 3-0'd Neep today and he comes in on the same stage, I think is something that's huge, right? Because back in Katowice, suddenly you move into the Spodek arena.
Everything was different.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's like a wide open area. You're suddenly not comfortable behind a tiny booth anymore, in a booth, or you're looking at a small audience. No, suddenly you're in the center of a giant stage, and you can feel all those eyes from multiple rings above you looking down upon you. That can be intimidating.
Pretty terrifying, if you ask me. I've sat in that audience. It's pretty scary just to sit in the audience, or inspiring to some extent. Absolutely crazy as we kick this game off, though. Very standard. Maru not with any shenanigans just yet, and he has shown a couple of proxies here and there. Maybe he'll crack it out in a later game of this series. Eastwatch in general, a very large map, not one you really want to open proxy on.
Of course, we saw Maru already in this matchup earlier today, taking out one of the most beautiful stories of this tournament. Our 15-year-old Italian Rainer fell 3-0 against Maru. It was kind of funny as well, because we asked Rainer yesterday, who are you hoping for, before the drawing was announced, and he kind of said unanimously Maru. He said multiple times Maru against multiple people. He just felt that was the best matchup for him. And I do feel he really brought the fight to Maru. I saw people say, it was a clean 3-0 victory. I think game number 1 on Blackpink was a very competitive, close, back-and-forth game, where from time to time I actually believe that Raynor could have potentially get the job done. I'm not sure if Serral was closely looking at that series or not. I heard some rumors that he didn't really bother, because apparently that's how confident he is.
Well, that's just crazy, isn't it? You know, you have a chance to pick up like 3 games of information about how your opponent might play, and you're just like, I'm going to win anyway, why bother?
Apparently he only looked at game 3 and he said, not that impressive.
Wow. That's Serral's a funny guy when he lets it out a little bit, as we do see the third hat-trick coming down. Just got there just before the Reaper came across. And you see the Lings pulling back, and Serral makes this defense look easy, which he should. I mean, it's a long map, not easy for the Reaper to get across, not quick for the Reaper to get across. So the Queen being out when it arrives makes it a very easy defense so far.
Now this is, of course, a very big tournament. I said earlier that I really think this is the biggest game that Serral has played in his career. And some people might wonder, like, global finals, you know, if you got the playoffs or not, or the finals of WCS Leipzig. Absolutely massive moments as well. But when it comes to the money, this is by far the biggest game that he's ever played. Right now, Serral has secured himself already, just like Maru, $20,000 for making it this far. That's good, but if you make it to the finals of WESG, even if you lose the finals, you walk away with $100,000. And if you somehow end up winning this tournament, it's $200,000. That's 10 times as much that they currently have. This is massive, Waddy.
Absolutely crazy. An $80,000 best of 5 right here.
Yes, it's so silly.
I don't think I've ever said those words.
No,
or
that's
numbers to that extent.
How would you even play? I would be bouncing off the stage, man. My hands would absolutely betray me in ways that they have never betrayed me before. Anyways, let's see as Maru is making his way towards Serral's side of the map with a couple of Hellions and a Reaper in the mix as well. Can Serral get the wrap around this? So far he is not. He really needs to get a little bit more damage on these Hellions, because you don't want to end up losing too many drones here.
Well, he gets rid of 2 though before they reach a mineral line, and that's fantastic, because now the flat damage won't be there. The spawner pool will block any behind the mineral line action. What a defense by Serral.
And not even that many Lings as well, right? That's 4 Hellions and a Reaper for 10 Zerglings. Where Serral had a disastrous start in Katowice, which I do really think is important. You want to build some momentum, you want to build some confidence in those big series. This seems like the cleanest start he could wish for.
I mean, it doesn't get much better than this as he goes into the land. The Rotor on here, interestingly enough. Now, we have seen Maru pull out a variety of styles across the weekend, and some of that has been mech, some of that has been bio. A Rotor on here would definitely help Serral set up against the mech style. Let's see if it is going to be committed, and if more gas is coming down from Maru, it looks as though it will be.
Yep, with additional gas going on the Nidus network. We just don't stop with the Niduses, do we? Now we're going to take a look at what is there in the main base. No Cyclones. Yes, there is a tank on the way, but if the Nidus can somehow... Where would he Nidus, though? He doesn't really... Okay.
Overseer's on its way.
There is the Overseer. I think you probably want to Nidus very close to this factory, right? Probably either here or maybe here. Few extra factories are going to go down, but will they come in place? Serral's putting it all on the line, and Maru has no idea that this is heading towards him.
Absolutely no scouting. He might even have the Banshee heading across the map when it comes in, so it might be a bit out of position. First Banshee pops, the Siege Tank comes out. Okay, the Overseer comes in. He's not going to waste any time at all, right? He's going to throw it straight down. And it is just on top of the reactor, actually, so nothing can build there.
A little bit dangerous, though. He could potentially get walled in, right? Couple of drones do go down, though, as that first Cloak Banshee has showed up in the main base. That tank is in a safe position, I'd almost say. Let's see how this plays out. He needs to keep that Nidus alive, and so far he does.
Nidus staying alive, the transfusions are good. The Banshee just about stays alive as well. Now being repaired, it's that Siege Tank that's the biggest issue. The Nidus goes down, so no more reinforcements. I agree with what you said, putting it on the reactor. The reactor kind of blocks him coming down this ramp, although now he's finally able to make his way through, but it took a long time. A new Siege Tank is here, and it is going to be able to back away. Even the bunker coming up as Maru's Banshee, another one, comes into the party and will be able to add in some extra damage.
Serral's going to try this one more time, but he took so much economic damage on the other side of the map. 12 drones going down against that single Banshee. That one tank is starting to run low on HP. Maru needs to keep it alive. We've got a Nidus, another Nidus going down. Right now, Serral is down in workers, and that's not where you want to be, but he has a much, much bigger army.
Another Siege Tank about to pop as Lings stream in at the moment. That may not even get a chance to siege up properly here. A bunker has just a single Marine inside of it. That Banshee is low, but there's no more Queens for the moment. SCVs continue to come up the line. Lings are killing absolutely everything in the natural. I think Maru might be running out of units here, Roddy.
Yes, he's got that Banshee, and that Banshee will live, but can one Banshee really clean up this much, sir? Can Serral get the job done? There is still that Banshee in his main as well. 2 Banshees now here for Maru, who only has 7 SCVs left. Already dropped a couple of mules. The mules are gonna go down, and I think in a weird way this game might actually continue from here, even though Serral pops another Nidus.
What's going to come out of that Nidus? It seems like nothing. One Roach before it goes down. That Banshee is such a nuisance without the Queens being mobile enough. Some Roaches pop out the low ground Nidus, and that's another few workers. 53 workers lost and only 4 SCVs remaining on this map.
Oh, but there is barely any anti-air, though. Yes, there is a Spore Crawler. I mean, 5 SCVs. That looks super, super grim. And it is, especially after he just dropped the mules as well. But let's not pretend that Serral's got a great economy here. He doesn't. It's 24 workers, and it's triple orbital for Maru. With all those Banshees still alive as well, Maru has potential to eventually even up the worker count. Pretty amazing hold by Maru.
One absolutely insane game to start us off here in this best of 5 series. Serral, he put everything on the line, and he's going to be forced to go further. I'm really worried about these Banshees. You said it. There's so many of them, and, well, a couple of them are low, but the damage output's insane. He does get one very quickly. He starts to pull back. A good target from Maru. He gets the Banshee, or the Queen, sorry, that's low on energy. So, sorry, high on energy, so no transfuse available.
Yep, I mean, that's -2 Queens again. These Banshees are still going to be annoying. He moved the Spore Crawl as well. That's kind of cute. He's putting the drones in the Nidus to be safe against the Cloak Banshee. At the same time, a few Lings are going to try to even up the economies, but they won't be able to break in. What a mental game already, Waddy, as this Banshee found a couple of drones. I mean, Serral's up by 14 workers, and sometimes that's a very big deal. But against triple orbital, and right now not really a proper answer against some of the stuff that Maru still has, I don't know if I love this that much for Serral.
Yeah, he's trying to drone as much as he can. He has this one Banshee super low that does go close to the Spore, but of course it's Maru. He's not going to let it just fly straight in there. The Queen not out. It's just another couple of drones, and they all add up at this stage.
Both of these players refusing to die. Maru right now only down 13 workers. Remember when it was down 20 workers or so? That seems like a lifetime ago. That Overseer is still here. The Queen count is just kind of bad, right? I mean, he only has 2 Queens. He's going to get 2 more soon, and that will finally make Serral's life a little bit easier. He is starting to squeeze out drones again at a rapid rate. And Wardy, after 9 minutes and 30 seconds of madness, it seems like we've got a ZVT on our hands.
Almost feels as though any other Terran would be 1-0 down at this point of the series if they went into that situation that Maru just did. But Maru finds a way. He was down, what, 4 workers at one stage? He rebuilds himself up here. And now the game is really maybe just beginning. An armory coming down, still Maru building a lot of Banshees, but at this stage, Serral has the economy to actually build up a lot of Queens. So this is starting to look a little bit better for Serral.
Do you think that Serral could just do another Nidus? Is that
I mean,
weird?
I think he maybe could, but does he know to? Because does he know that Maru is focusing so much on Banshee production?
I don't know. I mean, the tank count is currently just 1. I actually think that if Serral squeezes out roaches now, goes for another Nidus, there is a good chance he does a devastating amount of damage, because these Banshees in a straight-up fight will not be able to fight 7 or 8 Queens. There is simply no way.
Well, these Banshees are going to hit the main base in a moment. Of course, the Queens need to be here defensively, because if they aren't, well, they're just not going to have a good time, and we are going to see nice pickoffs. That's 1 Banshee down. I mean, that obviously must say to Serral, like, maybe I have a chance at maybe counter-attacking as we do see these roaches picking off a couple of Hellions. I mean, a few drones going down, but overall, Serral's quick to respond. He minimizes any potential damage there.
Alrighty, 2 more tanks on the way. Extra starports going down as well, but Serral is just droning up. It seems like he has said goodbye to any sort of Nidus plans that he perhaps still had. Hyper flight rotors on the way now as well. We're gonna get some good old speed Banshee, but I mean, we'll see. I mean, on Eastwatch is a massive map, so maybe Maru being Maru is gonna be able to find the openings that he's looking for.
We'll figure this out very soon as 2 more starports are coming on up. I mean, that's just Maru playing absolutely crazy, right? I mean, how often do you see someone crack this out? I mean, he did it against, was it Rogue he did it against in the Katowice playoffs?
I definitely saw it a couple of times even in Katowice. He really does seem to love this upgrade. I think Juanito uses it every now and then as well.
Yeah, it's just interesting that he's going into so many more starports here, so we'll see what he does with it, as of course at this stage Serral is really starting to get the rest of his tech going. The Infestation Pit, the Hydralisk Den, Maru scans them both as they come down, so that's great info for him, but it does mean that Serral is advancing on his tech choices here, and he will have more options open to him in the coming minutes.
This is going to be a long game, but I do fear Maru on like 4 bases playing mech though. We all know what he's capable of. He was actually one of the only Terrans that truly impressed me when it came to the Liberator ghost control at Katowice, where a couple of the other Terrans that we normally praise a lot were clearly struggling with it. I mean, Maru made Solar look hopeless in those late game scenarios, and even some of the earlier games as well. We saw some phenomenal ghost control. Now, ghosts are still a very long way off, but if Maru ever gets there, 4 or 5 bases, gets a bunch of ghosts out as well, gets the Liberators to zone out Zerg armies, that's a scary prospect for Serral.
It really, really is. As the Hive is coming through, though, so at least he's on his way to being able to deal with those sort of setups. I mean, Vipers are going to be amazing against this. The parasitic bomb potential, as we see the Corvid reactor, that Raven upgrade is getting ready to go. And if Ravens start coming out, this becomes an extremely dangerous game.
Yeah, I mean, that was the real power, right? Of course, Liberators were nice to just zone out Zerg armies. The Ghosts were scary as well. Plenty of snipes, but we saw what Ravens can do in high numbers. You get 6, 7, 8 Ravens out. You better know how to split your Zerg army, otherwise everything is going to disappear very, very quickly.
Hyperflight Rotors makes those Banshees so zippy, and they're going to find themselves the Hive, which is coming up. I mean, a few Hydras here, and the Queen will buy a bit of time, but it's not enough to actually fight this.
Nope, Queen gets picked off. Hydras are going to melt as well. Maru scans. He's like, how far are those Queens? Sarah's going to try to save his Hive, and I think
he's
should
got transfusions, right? So he should be okay. He
well,
needs to hit the transfusions.
Oh my! Little heart attack there, Wardy. He waited till the very last moment.
I mean, Serral has $80,000 riding on this series. I dare not think how he feels seeing that Hive maybe about to die.
Oh my. That would have changed the entire landscape of this game. No Vipers in like forever. Don't even want to think about it. What a scary, scary moment. Serral just barely dodging the bullet there. I mean, I wouldn't actually mind a couple of Infestors against all these Banshees.
Yeah.
Banshees are like Phoenixes. They really like to clump up. But of course, Parasitic Bomb is absolutely fantastic against it as well. Maru is going to try his luck one more time, but the Queens are still here. Maru throws down a scan, and he's like, yeah, maybe not.
Yeah, obviously just picking up that info ahead of time makes him make the decision a bit more easily to back away. Nice little pick off of a couple of workers here as Maru tries to establish himself. The gold base has his fall. Serral is maxed out. What do you think? He goes for across the map. He's actually going to start throwing down a Nidus in the main, while maybe also pushing. I mean, again, maxed out. May as well trade out a couple of units if you can find the openings here.
Let's see what the tank count is. The tank count is at 6. Obviously, Maru really wants to get a high Raven count, but that's not going to happen anytime soon. You gotta be careful there with your Vipers in the middle of the map. Serral, that is. In the end, he ends up losing one, but he kills 2 Vikings. The Nidus will unload in the main base. It's just a couple roaches for now, doing some more economic damage and trying to get a good feel of how strong Maru is. Let's not forget, ooh, the Armory is taking a lot of damage. Banshees tried to save the Armory, and I think they will barely be able to do so.
Wow, those Banshees I mean, they were just across the other side of the map a moment ago. They reappear so quickly with that Hyperflight Road as we do see these rocks getting taken down. Serral finding himself access another Nidus into the main, keeping up the harassment while looking to strike elsewhere.
Another parasitic bomb connecting with those Vikings, doing a little bit of damage. Let's see how many units will pop out of the Nidus this time. This is like a minute or so before Maru is fully ready to fight. It's no queens, it's just roaches. I actually think that these roaches are going to die rather quickly against this amount of Banshees.
Yeah, that Banshee count is absolutely insane, as the Raven count, as you said, it is on its way up, and the more Ravens that come out, the happier Maru will be to engage. He's at 5 with these ones finishing up now, so that's going to really start getting scary soon as Serral continues to expand up the left-hand side of the map, ignores his own gold base for now, and perhaps realizing it's just too difficult to defend with the Banshees on the map and the lack of creep spread down there, as we do see him with the greatest spy on the way.
He's got pretty good upgrades, though, that's for sure. Shame for Serral that he was not able to get the Armory, but obviously a great save there by Maru with all of his Banshees. Maru's going to find a hatchery, and let's blink twice, and that hatchery will pretend it was never there.
Yep, the drone very nearly got away with it.
Parasitic bomb! Viper's getting quite close towards all these Banshees. They're all so clumped up. He throws down the scan. A couple of ducks will be used as well. That's obviously a great way to get rid of at least a couple. Wouldn't have minded to see a single parasitic bomb there, though.
Yeah, that parasitic bomb forces Maru to micro them around as well. Maybe messes up slightly, maybe allows some splash damage to come down, and maybe even just forces them home to be repaired, which buys Serral time to start that base up again and get stack defense into location. He's going to have to get a lot of spores around the map just to stop those Banshees from flying around and completely controlling the game. That Viking count still absolutely huge here. He's obviously still so reliant though on these Ravens to get a lot done.
Well, let's take a look at the tank count. The tank count is currently at 7. It's going to be able to push a couple of these Hydras and Roaches away. Serral looking for an opening, but once again, the longer this goes on, the harder and harder it will be to get an opening. That Raven count still climbing. The barracks have just been thrown down for potentially some goals later on as well. Seems like Serral is ready for some trades.
Oh, well, Maru is as well, as the anti-armor missiles do connect. Serral seems as though he wants to keep on fighting though. I mean, there isn't really anything on the ground to fight these Hydras, so what does the anti-armor missile actually do? That's
actually a great timing. Right before the planetary drops a parasitic bomb there, does a tiny bit of damage on a couple of those units. That's a nice pickup though, because the more planetaries, the scarier Maru becomes, of course. Seems like these Banshees has given up in the main fight, so they're going to try to potentially get the snipe on the Hive, maybe. Yeah, I think they're going to go for the Hive, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a decent target. That one single spore in front of it is probably not quite enough. Serral sees this now, but he's so far out of position. A couple of Hydras come in. Is that really enough to start turning this around? I mean, he might get one Banshee actually loses detection because of the way in which it flips up. And oh, the Queens arrive. I mean, he's there, right? He's going to transfuse. How does Serral get back in position from the middle of the map so quick?
Oh, now the Vipers are here again as well. They're going to land a parasitic bomb in the middle of the pack, doing quite a bit of damage. A lot of these Banshees tanking. But of course, Maru is buying time, and every second that goes by, that means more and more and more energies on these little Raven boys.
Yeah, the Ravens are the biggest issue here. More and more of them coming through as Serral is once again looking for maybe an opportunity to attack. That command center is being protected by 3 tanks, even though it's just starting to build. There's a couple of Hellions will get some creep tumors and some changelings while they're at it. Serral looks as though he's going to rotate all the way around to the top side, pushing towards the gold location, and Maru obviously has a sensor tower. We'll see this coming, and will be able to rotate his own army in time to deflect.
A single Viper going forward, landing a parasitic bomb on the Raven. That's kind of cute, doesn't do devastating amounts of damage. Look at Serral's map vision though, it's pretty insane, right? How is he supposed to take really any damage? I mean, somehow 2 Hellions are in the back line. They're going to get a couple of drones. On the north side, the Banshees show up as well, which somehow didn't see. So Maru, despite the fact that Serral sees like 80% of the map, Maru still finding a little bit of damage, but at the same time, he's going to end up losing a couple of Ravens and tanks as well.
And you see the anti-armor missile hits nicely, another one too. But once again, Serral's denied this base, so he just backs away. And you said it before, the more he denies this base, the better it is. 20 minutes in, and Maru is on still just 4 bases here, which really isn't many for this stage of the game.
And look at the economy of Serral.
Yeah.
4,000 minerals, 3,000 gas in the bank, so losing a couple of drones here and there. Obviously not the end of the world. Also, he's able to replace them quite quickly. I think the main weakness that Raynor had in his series against Maru, that could also be because Maru was just applying a lot of pressure. But when Raynor started to lose drones, he really struggled remaking them. He went from 70 to 55, and he was at 55 for a while, and then it even dropped to 48. And he just kind of stayed there, never found an opportunity to secure another base and get that drone count back to where it's want to be. And if you're at 200 supply, you got all the upgrades and money in the bank, it's okay to have 50 drones, but not if you're at 45, 50 drones and you have like 140 supply. That's just not enough. You need more in that phase in the game, but Serral seems like he's very healthy economically.
Goes try to land an EMP in that last fight. Would be great if they hit the Vipers, of course, but he just missed out. This time Serral didn't commit into that fight, and he might just have to start playing a bit slow. He's added some of those infestors on as well. That's going to only be more another tool in his arsenal, right, to help against these Banshees. He can cancel snipes with that as well, potentially. A lot can be done with those infestors, as Serral is actually building another hive. Is that just in preparation of maybe losing his own hive in the main? I mean, it wouldn't be too surprising, right?
Could very well be the case. Only a single tank here, but the Raven's going to show up as well. Oh, actually splash damage is a lot, but I mean, in the end, it was only a small portion of the army of Serral.
Yeah, Serral doesn't really lose too much here at all. I mean, his supply barely even moves. A couple of Banshees getting picked off at the tail end of those parasitic bombs, so at this point, of course, it's energy from Serral that's getting some kills as well.
I do feel the next minute or so, this is almost now or never for Serral, right? If Maru gets this base, and at the same time he's trying to get this one over here in the right bottom side as well, I feel those are bases Maru is not supposed and allowed to have. We can take a look at the Raven count. We're looking at 9 Ravens, reasonable amount of energy as well. Maru has been dropping a couple of scrambler missiles, but he hasn't been super trigger happy, right? He's been shooting very, very carefully. Serral knows it as well. You cannot give Maru all the bases on a map like Eastwatch. I think the next 2 minutes are going to be very, very exciting, Marty.
So many Vipers here as we are getting ready for perhaps the big attack. Some Corruptors just joined the field, and they, of course, could be kind of the sturdiness in the skies that Serral needs to really commit to an engagement. Well, and Banshee is on its own journey.
Scouting Banshee. I like that by Maru, though, just splitting up one unit that doesn't matter that much because you don't want to be out of position against all those Vipers, and now potentially Brood Lords and Corruptors as well. Serral still has an Overlord here, so he knows it is based on the north side of the map, hasn't been taken yet. I fear it, though. Maru, ultra late game, Ghost, Raven, maybe soon some Liberators as well. His Ghost count is at 12 at this point. The first nuclear missile is being researched as well. Buddy, we've got a game, and let's not forget that this started off with the Nidus network where Maru had, what was it?
4 SCVs.
4 or 6 SCVs left?
What a way to bounce back in game number 1. We're maxed out on each side of the map. Serral's bank is huge, but Maru has the bases to keep on building as well. You said it yourself, the first nuke is on its way, and that could start to cause issues. Something else that Serral will have to start worried about that hasn't probably come into his mind just yet.
Those Banshees are value, aren't they? They have forced cancels on hatcheries so many times, even picking off a couple of finished hatcheries as well. Absolutely awesome to see how Maru is maneuvering these Banshees around the map. Serral's going to find a couple of command centers. You know, you normally don't say that casually, but in this game it kind of is casual. As he's going to move a little further forward, he's going to try to pick up these tanks instead. In the end, he does get both CCs. At the same time, the Ghosts are all coming forward, getting multiple snipes on these Vipers.
He does, but they get fungal growth. The Broodlords are chasing them down. There's another fungal, and more Ghosts are falling. So even though so many Vipers went down, this almost feels as though it wasn't so bad for Serral.
9 Ghosts went down, 10. A few more getting picked off there by the reinforcements. So all 12 Ghosts went down. I think 5 Vipers full of energy went down as well, though. I mean, I'm not saying that as a great trade. That's obviously not. But it's not like Serral didn't lose anything there. But now Serral's going to move forward with the Broodlords. But don't forget, there's still 9 Ravens on the map.
And those anti-armor missiles hit absolutely everything here initially. And they are going to keep on firing. And that's the issue. How do you actually fight this right now? Is Serral a handful of Hydras are brave enough to step forwards to push it away? but he is forced back overall, waiting for more spellcasters to join the field, rebuilding his Vipers. He has none on the map at the moment, and these Banshees are looking to press the issue.
Oh, it feels like there is an infested there, or two that could potentially land a nice fungal. Maybe they don't have the energy yet. Maru still going forward, feeling very confident. The queen count currently is at 7, so there's a little bit of transfuse available. Fungal does connect with just 2 Ravens. Another base. Meanwhile, these ghosts took care of that one roach on the north side of the map. Look at Maru, he's expanding like a madman.
I mean, that's the issue. Serral just hasn't been, Serral doesn't really have an army on the ground that's super mobile. So denying all of these bases at once, Maru is destined to get at least 1 or 2 of them up and to start getting more of that gas income, which he so desperately needs to keep on rebuilding this gas-heavy composition.
Yeah, this is a dream army for Maru, right? I mean,
yeah,
we've seen Zergs almost give up. When Maru reaches this phase of the game, you've seen them just run in units, getting scrambler missiles, and kind of take the hands off the keyboard and just leave, right? It's like, it's unbreakable. What do you really do? But it's only for the last minute or 2 that Maru really has been in this sweet position. He's still not everywhere where he wants to be. He's getting damage done. He's still doing a little bit of a run by here. He's going to get a couple of drones. Shouldn't be much more than that. But I still feel that Maru ideally would like a few more minutes.
Well, let's see, because Serral's pushing forward. He might not give him those couple of minutes. We're going to see the first anti-armor missile. Serral somewhat splits that Broodlord away to minimize the connection. Vipers are now on the hunt.
Why doesn't he go towards the north side? I feel the north side is so weak.
I guess maybe it's just more choked up in some ways. I'm not really too sure. Maybe he doesn't have creep then. He feels as though he needs the spore crawlers to fight with this.
That's possible as well. As a few more Hellions are making their way towards the south side, but there's spine crawlers everywhere. I mean, the best they can do is maybe morph into Hellbats and get a cancel on this hatchery. I think that's exactly what Maru is going to do. And that is a nice little minor victory.
Yep. I mean, it's something. I mean, in fairness, right, Serral has not had too many new bases coming up because of the Banshees and now these Hellbats as well.
Cancel. No cancel. Right now it's not the biggest deal in the world because Serral is quite rich, but eventually these things can absolutely start adding up. You look at Serral's army, 10 Broodlords, 7 Infestors, 5 Vipers. What a spellcaster heavy army, huh?
Control is going to be absolutely crucial in this. The ghosts from the north side, they find themselves some 3 Broodlords, all 3 of them now out of position, go down. They were just out of range of the spores.
I mean, I feel like Maru is distracting Serral with these alien run-bys around the map, and at the same time he's trying to get some serious work done. Goes, land an EMP in the middle of these infestors. Lots of Scrambler missiles going down. These Hydras just melt. I feel like this is starting to look dicier and dicier for Serral, because I feel that Maru is getting closer and closer towards his dream army. If I've learned one thing in elementary school, it's never give Maru his dream army.
I am actually looking at this and thinking, how do you begin to break it, right? If the missiles just do that much damage right from the get-go every single time, and these Banshees are still on the map. I mean, he made so many of these early. He committed to Hyperflight Throwers. We kind of hummed and hawed about it, and it has just been so frustrating for Serral, and they have done so much throughout this game.
Yep. Maybe 1 or 2. No detection here, actually, so that's very frustrating for Serral. These Banshees are going to be a little more annoying than they already were. Not often will you see a game with 30+ Banshees. It's actually kind of cool to see Banshees being used in this way. 4 more Ghost Academies going up as well.
It's time to start nuking, and there's the first coming down on this top left-hand side. Serral, it's amazing how fast he finds it as he just pulls everything away, even unrooting his static defense to completely minimize the damage dealt here. I'm just impressed how fast he saw it.
Yep, he looked at the first base and he immediately found it. These Banshees still being annoying in the middle of the map. Serral's gonna move forward again with his spore crawlers. 5 nukes at once are on the way. Maru's bases though, I feel like Maru's economy is finally what he wants to be. He's actually outmining Serral in a pretty severe manner at this point with 72 SCVs, all these orbitals as well. Serral needs to win the fight, and how do you do that against all these Ravens and all these Ghosts?
Honestly, I'm waiting for Serral to show me because I'm not really too sure. This army's so difficult to fight against. The Broodlords pick away a little bit from the distance, but really not too much at all. And again, I really feel like Serral needs to find another base somewhere, but it's so difficult with the harassment from Maru because, yes, okay, for now his bank is okay, but you give it another minute or 2, and Serral will start mining out, and then he needs to have those bases already up and mining.
Yeah, Banshee still denying this hatch on the south side of the map. Nuclear missiles landing on the north side of the map. We say that very casually because I have the feeling we're going to see a lot more of those. Maru doing a really good job at kind of preventing Serral from having the absolute insane godlike bank as he scrolls down a couple of scans, and we have the first nuke that's near the main army. And since Maru has only been nuking bases so far, I hope that Serral's paying attention, and he is just in time. But this is hectic though. This is so annoying to play against. When all you hear when you're playing nuclear missile launch, at one point you just don't know where to look anymore. And it feels sooner rather than later. One of these nukes could very well connect.
And it only takes one nuke to completely mess up everything, right? So you're going to see some Hydras coming up here. We'll actually be able to clean up this Ghost. So that nuke will be straight up cancelled. A lone Banshee top left is scouting this hatchery. And of course, I imagine the rest of the Banshees may be on their way over there soon as Serral is finding out that Maru has the bottom right-hand side of the map as well. Maru's income economy is just endless at the moment, and that is the issue that was not around 10 minutes ago, but now it really is.
I honestly feel that Maru's bank is going to be a lot bigger than Serral's bank if this continues for another minute, that we have another random nuke. There's just nukes going down everywhere. This base is starting to run very low on HP. I don't even know where this ghost is. All of the ghosts are here actually. As Maru snipes the Overseer, that means no detection.
So the Spore Crawler's on the high ground though, so he does manage to cancel the 2 nukes. So that's something at least as we go to be Sim goes looking for something at the end. He hits every single Viper with the EMPs. They get out of the fungal and run on away as well, and so they're not even punished.
And they still live as well. No detection. Fungal whiffs, doesn't connect. Finally gets the high energy goals though. And he will be able to get the final 2 as well. I mean, that wasn't cheap for Maru, but Maru is actually in a position now where he can start losing a Ghost or 10 and still remake them rather quickly.
I mean, he's just got a huge bank. 3,000, 4,000. Serral has a lot of minerals, but he really doesn't have gas. As we see, a nuke picks off just a few spine crawlers and a spore here. But again, just the idea of another nuke going off, it just distracts Serral. It forces him to check all around the map. And let's not forget that behind this, Maru's just sitting on a stack of Ravens that are just going to be so difficult to fight.
Yep. The Raven count is high, the energy even high. Parasitic bomb going down, but Scrambler missile connecting with the entire army of Serral.
Good start from Maru if he wants to continue this fight, perhaps. Top left-hand base is under attack, yet somehow Serral is still there to respond. More missiles connecting the big fungal on the Ravens, but he just can't really capitalize. The next fungal growth misses, and it feels as though Serral is just starting to disengage.
Yep, I mean, especially without Vipers, right? He needs to land a lot of parasitic bombs, preferably the combination of fungal and parasitic bomb, as we've got our first battle cruises on the way as well. So if Maru's multitasking wasn't enough, Serral finally decides to attack this base on the top side, which was very exposed, and he's going to get a very easy kill and a handful of SCVs as well. But at the same time, the Ghost Party is going to at least make sure that this wasn't for free.
Yeah, not free at all. The majority of those Hydras go down, and the issue for Serral is he just doesn't have the gas to build anything anymore. 300 gas. I mean, he can build a couple Vipers, but really not much else. And he's just not able to mine any gas because every single time a nuke lands, it forces workers away from this gas over here. I mean, the new gas is coming up on the top left at least, but it's just so little compared to what it feels like you need. This time even the hatchery does fall, and Maru is just picking Serral apart little by little.
Yeah, Serral still does have a terrifying army, but it just seems that the EMPs, every single time they connect with 5-6 Vipers at once, and then he just doesn't have the energy to ever fight. I mean, this is a battle for energy. The Raven count is at 13 at this point, and look at the amount of energy. Even though they just kind of recently fought, there is plenty to work with if your name is Maru.
So they're going to see her picking off this SCV and looking to try and get that bit to the top side, as we do have these, well, battle cruisers getting into action. They actually pick off the hatchery. It's just more slaps in the face right now for Serral.
Oh my, Maru is everywhere at once at this point. As he's entering the main base, he gets the pool. He's going to be able to get the hive. Now there is a backup hive, which is obviously quite nice for Serral, but Serral is starting to take more and more and more damage, and it just feels like there's no opening for him. There is nothing that he can really do that is dangerous. More nukes going down. He's landing the triple nuke at once. Maru, he's mad.
What a way to make sure this base will not be active. 1, 2, 3. I've never seen that in my life.
But he's going to lose a lot of ghosts for that, though. I mean, that's a very cool little sexy play. But he just lost 8 or 9 ghosts. He's dropping more nukes in the left top side. Maru is having a field day as he's going to be able to get a cancel on this hatch as well. But I mean, that was super cool, but absolutely not worth it.
Yeah, but at this stage does it matter? Because again, just denying the base and stopping Serral from mining?
10 goals, I think it matters. I think it matters.
Okay, well, We do see more goes on the production tab. More nukes are on the way up, and Serral feels he's just losing everything to the point. He just types out GG. He just can't fight this army. Maru plays a masterclass of TVZ. I mean, he had to fight